For over a decade, Roosevelt Middle School has proudly saluted our brave men and women in uniform in honor of Veterans Day. Whether currently active, retired, served during peacetime, or gave the ultimate sacrifice, we as a school and community will never forget what you have done for us. Thank you for your service, and thank you for allowing us to honor you today.
So this is a great opportunity to come together as a school community. And I just have 3 thoughts as we get ready to begin this Veterans Day Assembly together. The first one was how happy I was to hear. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I am Dr. Khan. I'm the new principal, proud principal of Roosevelt Middle School. And so this is my first Veterans Day Assembly with you. And I was so happy to hear that our school, our teachers, our staff only had to remind our students of how important our behavior was and the need for us to be so respectful, because you know what's expected. You know how to behave appropriately when we come together as a whole school to recognize, celebrate, and honor, in this case, our veterans today. This is the first time we've all come together as a school community, and I honestly can't think of a better occasion to do so. For all of us, students, staff, counselors, administrators, there are community members here, there are counselors here, there are school committee members, parents, all of us coming together to recognize, to thank, and to salute the veterans who have served this country so proudly in our behalf. So if we could please give a huge round of applause to all of our veterans here today. We have veterans who have served in many different wars. This year in particular is the anniversary of the end of the Korean War, which ended 70 years ago this year. And finally, I'm so happy for our 6th graders and any 7th and 8th grade students who are new. We're going to have an amazing experience today. People spoke so much about this assembly and how meaningful it is. I'm really happy we're all going to experience it for the first time. I'm excited for our 7th graders. For those of you who've seen this before, you're about to have a second chance to learn the lessons and reflect upon what's being shared today. But I actually am most excited for our 8th grade students. As human beings, we love to repeat those things that bring us purpose and meaning and joy. We watch the same shows and movies. We read the same books. We go to those places that have special meaning. We eat the same food that we like over and over again, the same music. So I'm most excited actually for our 8th grade students, because when you first had this experience 2 years ago, you are a different young adult now. You are going to hear things today that you didn't necessarily hear as a 6th grader. You're going to reflect upon messages delivered today that are going to strike you differently, because in 6th grade, you weren't the same young adult that you are today. I am so excited for today's assembly. I'm so proud to be able to be the MC for this. So without further ado, honored veterans, staff, and students, let us begin with the posting of the colors, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the singing of the national anthem. At this time, we will say together the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Please remain standing. Thank you. At this time, we would like to welcome two 8th grade students, Zoe Medeiros and Devin Costa, to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
At this time, I would now like to introduce the RMS Student Council as they present the history of Veterans Day.
On November the 11th, 1918, our nation was again at peace. We observe Veterans Day on this anniversary, not of the beginning of a war, but on a day when war ended. Our veterans have borne the cost of America's wars and have stood watch over America's peace. On this day, every veteran can be certain the nation they served and the people they defended are grateful. Today and every day, the prayers of the American people are with those who have worn our country's uniform. We owe them for the way of life we cherish today and must never take it for granted.
Veterans Day is dedicated to every man and woman who has taken up arms to defend our country. Today we remember those who have fallen and the 22 million veterans who still live among us. Not every veteran has known the full fury of battle, but most consider their time in uniform among the most defining and life-changing experiences of their lives.
Military life is built around sacrifice and complete devotion to the United States of America. If you have lived this life, then you know the meaning of commitment to a greater cause. This is the bond that joins every veteran from every branch of the service. The military drew out the best that was in you, instilling the highest standards of diligence, discipline, and loyalty. Whether drafted or enlisted, commissioned or non-commissioned, each veteran took an oath to live by a code and stood ready to fight and if necessary die for their country. Our country's military has left a legacy like no other fighting force ever assembled. The uniform they wear and the flag they carry are held in esteem wherever they have served across the world. The sight of an American in uniform has meant hope, relief, deliverance, and freedom to those who are suffering. That is their finest tribute.
We believe our great nation of free people send their very best men and women out to serve on their frontiers of freedom. Our friends, neighbors, colleagues, and family went forth to defend their nation and its ideals. Giving up the comforts and conveniences of home, they lived lives of great consequences, for they kept the torch of liberty burning in the oldest democracy on earth.
We honor every soldier, sailor, airman, marine, and Coast Guardsman who gave the best years of their lives to serve their country. Each and every one of them are heroes and gave to every child born thereafter a precious and irreplaceable gift. We, the people, remain eternally grateful.
Wait a minute, kiddo.
It is the soldier, not the minister, who has given us freedom of religion.
It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press.
It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech.
It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to protest.
It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial.
It is the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote.
It is the soldier who salutes the flag,
Who serves beneath the flag,
and whose coffin is draped by the flag.
Who allows the protester to burn the flag.
For stepping forward when others step back.
Thank you for placing yourself between us and danger.
Thank you for delaying plans for college, marriage, and other opportunities and choosing to serve.
Thank you for braving the unspeakable horrors of war.
Thank you for sacrificing time with your families and missing those significant milestones the rest of us take for granted.
Thank you to your spouses who find themselves living nomadic lives, often far away from the support of loved ones.
Thank you to your children who accept your absence as a way of life and understand they share you with a nation and sometimes the world.
thank you for continuing to support your country once you leave military service by following new careers and becoming the teachers, clergy, business owners, employees, pilots, civil servants, and so much more that we need to be a successful society.
Just go.
Thank you for involving yourself in your local community, your state, and your country, helping us to solve problems and to create a vision for our future using the skills you learned during your tour of duty.
Thank you for being a conscience to our nation.
Thank you for serving as a heroic example of who we are and what we can dream to be.
We can't shake every hand.
We can't visit every hospital.
We can mourn at every grave.
But we can say thank you.
Thank you to your, I missed my part. Thank you to your parents who have nothing but prayers to protect you and must now trust you will be safe and that we will offer the best we have to you.
Thank you for your service.
introduce our first guest speaker, Roosevelt Middle School alumni, Omni Sergeant Calvin Aguiar. Please come forward.
First, I want to say thank you for everybody for coming out. Second, I want to say thank you to Mr. Knoll, Ms. Rosa for inviting me to come and giving me the opportunity to speak. I was here 10 years ago, which to me is crazy. I was in you guys' shoes, acting a fool, getting in trouble all the time. They could vouch for it. Always in Miss Estevez, probably I'm sure she's here somewhere, yelling at me all the time. Yep, over there. It was either her or Missing Queenie. If you heard the keys, you know it was Missing Queenie. If you heard the loud footsteps, you know it was Miss Estevez. Just always yelling at either me or my cousin Aya. It was either one of us two. And then after here, I went to New Bedford High, continued getting in trouble, which I'm not proud of, but you know, it happens as a grown adult. So now I switched to City on the Hill, which I was still getting in trouble there, of course. And then I knew my only way out of New Bedford was either moving away or joining the service. So what I did was I joined the Army. I left for basic training July 3rd, the day before 4th of July, 2018. I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I served my basic training as an 11 Bravo. After then, after 6 months there, I went to Fort Hood, Texas, where I was there with 1-9. 6 months there, I went straight to Lithuania, which is right next to Russia. I was there for 9 months. Terrible. Cold, no sun, but it was a great experience. That's where, if you ever heard of military people talking about brotherhood and becoming family, that's the time where you become a family, where you're not with your actual family, you're away and you're serving. And then after that, I served 3 years in Fort Hood, Texas. And then I re-enlisted again because pretty sure all the guys and women over there can vouch, you don't ever want to base your first duty station off of your military experience. So I re-enlisted again for 5 years to go to Fort Drum, New York, where I served 2 years there because I ended up unfortunately getting hurt and I tore my labrum in my right shoulder. So that cut my military career short. And then now here I am speaking to you guys. I'm just going to leave you guys with a few more words before I go back over there. If you have a dream and somebody else has to talk you down, don't listen to them. Chase your dream. Do what you want to do. There's so much more of life and opportunity outside of this city, and I can guarantee that. I spent 6 years away, and if I can do more, I would, but I like spending time with family, but eventually I'm going to move back away and enjoy life somewhere else. But with that being said, thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a good day.
At this time, please welcome Roosevelt's School Resource Officer, Officer DeMello, to introduce the next segment, which commemorates the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. Officer DeMello.
Hi guys, how's it going? Mr. Knoll asked me to read this segment. Mr. Knoll knows that I'm a huge student of history. I love all the stuff that has to do with the Civil War, especially. If you've never been to Washington, D.C., I encourage you strongly to take that field trip someday. It's not a very expensive trip, and you'll learn a lot. And I'm going to tell you, at the end of this segment, they're going to do the Gettysburg Address. And I'm just going to tell you, nothing feels the same as standing at his footsteps, reading it in the Lincoln Memorial on the wall. So you owe it to yourself at some point in time to go ahead and do that. This year, we commemorate the 160th anniversary of what has become known as the greatest battle ever fought on American soil. For over 2 years, beginning in April of 1861, the Civil War had divided this nation into two separate but not equal halves. Beginning with the secession of South Carolina, 10 more southern states would eventually follow suit and form their own country, their own government, called the Confederate States of America. Their decision to secede from the United States began just 1 month after the election of President Abraham Lincoln, who would eventually become known as the Great Emancipator. The southern states, now called the Confederacy, wanted to ensure that their abhorrent institution of slavery would continue. After the bombardment of federally occupied Fort Sumter in 1861, the war between the states was officially declared and our beloved Union dissolved. For the first 2 years of the Civil War, the Confederacy, led by General Robert E. Lee, appeared to be invincible. The Union suffered crushing defeats and inadequate leadership on the battlefield, leaving President Lincoln frustrated and despondent. A much-needed turning of the tide was necessary to strike a decisive blow to the seemingly indestructible Confederacy, thus securing a Union victory and reforging these United States. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln issued his immortal Emancipation Proclamation, stating that any enslaved individual in the rebel states shall be declared then, thenceforward, and forever free. Only a Union victory would make this noble ideal a reality, ensuring freedom and justice for all. Beginning on July 1st, 1863, Union and Confederate forces would meet, some say accidentally, in a small Pennsylvania town of Gettysburg. This was the high water mark of Lee's ultimate goal of capturing Washington, D.C., only 80 miles away. This battle would eventually decide the fate of our nation, divided or united. From the opening skirmishes on McPherson Ridge to 70-year-old civilian and War of 1812 veteran John Burns joining the fight to defend his homeland, this battle would not be decided in a single day. On July 2nd, the war would feature some of the bloodiest moments that have enshrined themselves forever in our hearts and conscience. The wheat field, the peach orchard, Devil's Den, the slaughter pen, Cemetery Hill, and many others. But the heroics of former school teacher at a hill known as Little Round Top may not only have saved the day of the battle, but perhaps the very Union itself. Holding the most extreme left flank at the summit of the hill, Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain was told to hold the position of his 20th Maine Regiment at all hazards. Retreat or surrender were not an option. After 5 attempted uphill charges to capture the position made by the 15th Alabama, Chamberlain and his men were exhausted and out of ammunition. Holding true to his order of defending his position, he was left with only one desperate and unexpected option. He ordered his men to fix bayonets. At his command, Chamberlain and the 20th Maine charged the oncoming 15th Alabama with a sweeping downhill maneuver that stopped them from securing the position and thus prevented all-out disaster for the rest of the Union Army. For his bravery and actions of his conspicuous gallantry at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Chamberlain would later be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. On July 3rd, Lee believed he had only one option to secure a Southern victory. It would be to be the first and most devastating era. He ordered a full infantry assault in open terrain, soldiers side by side, approximately 1 mile wide, marching overland nearly a mile in length. This would be led by General George Pickett, and the charge would infamously bear his name forever. Believing the Union center was weak and his soldiers destined for victory, Lee watched in horror as his troops were decimated beyond recognition. Union First Lieutenant Alonzo Cushing would make the ultimate sacrifice, giving his life defending Cemetery Ridge against the oncoming Confederates. After being wounded in the shoulder and abdomen, holding in his own intestines, and burning off the flesh of his thumb in order to secure the missing vent of his cannon, he never left his position, even after being ordered to do so, still continuing to command his troops. A final shot entered through his mouth, killing him instantly. He was 22 years old. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor in 2014, 151 years after his sacrifice. Today, his gravestone epitaph fittingly states, "Faithful until death." After the disastrous Pickett's charge, the Battle of Gettysburg was ended. Lee and his troops retreated, and the Civil War would rage on for over a year and a half. But this battle marked the turning point for the Union's ultimate victory and the eventual abolition of slavery that President Lincoln had promised. In November of the same year, Lincoln was asked to make a few appropriate remarks at the dedication of a national cemetery to those soldiers who gave their lives at the Battle of Gettysburg. His address would last just over 2 minutes, but would become what many say are the finest words ever spoken in American history.
Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met here on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that their nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have thus far so nobly carried on. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Now it is my honor to introduce our second guest speaker, New Bedford police officer and Army Sergeant First Class Dean Lawrence.
I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak in front of you for a few minutes. I just want to say Fort Drum, I'm sorry, I've never seen so much snow in my entire life as Fort Drum, New York. It's unbelievable. So my name is Dean Lawrence. I'm a retired Army Sergeant First Class from the Army. Currently assigned to the K-9 unit with the Bedford Police Department. Retiring beginning of next year from that too. When I think of Veterans Day, I think of the men and women over there, and we're the past, you're the future. You may not think, especially the 8th graders, you don't think that you're old enough, whatever. I joined the Army 1983, I know that was a few years ago. September 1st, I turned 17. September 19th, both of my parents went with me to the recruiter because they both had assigned so I could join the Army. I didn't get to send a picture to Jeremy, your school resource officer, but I literally looked like I was 12 when I first joined the Army. Throughout my career, Germany, Spain, Portugal, England, I've been all over the world. In 1990, we deployed to Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. In 2000 to 2001, I did a peacekeeping mission in Bosnia. I was only home about a year and a half, and 2003, we deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom into 2004. When I came back from that, I ended up retiring. But Veterans Day is special for me because I think of all the thousands of men and women that I actually served with, people that I got to see. I look the same as I did, except for the gray hair and a few wrinkles when I was in kindergarten, and I'll run into people on cruise ships and stuff like that on vacation, and they remember me from either Desert Storm or Bosnia or Iraq, and I can't remember who they are. The Army was good for me. I had a lot of positive experiences, some not so good experiences, but it also allowed me to come on and get a great job in the Bedford Police Department. And throughout that, I did patrol the gang unit and now K-9. And it's great, I love it, but everything has an expiration date, so I know when it's time to tap out. You still have some people over here, my co-workers, Alan Fonseca, he's still in the Air Force Reserve, he works with me. My son-in-law, Christopher, he's over there. He got off of active duty, now he's in the National Guard. In my old MP company, military police. I want to say thank you. Great being here. Thank you.
Thank you. The following presentation honors Roosevelt staff and their family and friends who are veterans of the armed forces, as well as former students that chose to serve their country. All these brave men and women are part of the extended Roosevelt family.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, unseen a shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless
It is now time for our annual playing of the Armed Forces Melody. We invite our veterans to stand, if able, when their anthem is played. The playing of taps is an integral part of every military funeral and memorial ceremony. It is customary for civilians to place their hand over their heart while taps is being played. Now, please rise for the playing of taps.
Please be seated. Before we dismiss, I just have to have a few thank yous that are absolutely necessary before we enjoy our long weekend because of those men and women over there, guys. First of all, thank you to Dr. Conrad and all administration. I hope that your first Veterans Day celebration here was a good one. Thank you, Dr. Conrad. Our custodial staff for setting up all the chairs. Miss Rosa, the tech genius, thank you so much. Mr. Greg McHugh for providing the sound and speakers and sound equipment. Officer DeMello for the reading of Gettysburg. My mother, Roosevelt veteran herself, 34 years, for putting all the flyers all over. Thank you so much. You still haven't really retired. To our city councilors and my former student, Ryan Pereira and Miss Linda Morad, thank you very much. Our school committee members in attendance, Arthur Mata, Anne-Marie Lopes, Zoe and Devin for our national anthem. Our student council, guys, what a fabulous job. You did our veterans proud. Thank you so much. Officer Dean Lawrence, coming back once again to our ceremony. Thank you, sir. Sergeant Calvin Aguiar, another Roosevelt veteran. Thank you so much, my man. You couldn't have made us prouder. Thank you. And last but not least, every single veteran in attendance, especially those who return year after year, and if this is your first year, consider the invite extended every year from now on. We are truly the land of the free because of the brave. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you for Mr. Knoll for his work on the assembly as well. We are coming to the close of our assembly. Before we officially end, we are going to stand one more time. After that, everyone will seat again, and we're going to dismiss you by grade. First, 6th grade will leave, then 7th, then 8th. So we're not done yet. We're going to have the posting of the colors one more time. When we're all standing, then we will all sit again and dismiss you by grade. So again, I just want to thank everyone. What a wonderful, wonderful assembly. The fact that this takes place during the month of November is so meaningful. It is a month of gratitude and appreciation. And one more round of applause for our veterans. We are so grateful for you and for being here today. Please stand for the retiring of the colors. Quiet.